You had a dream. You grew up, you got a job, and here you are. You didn't stop dreaming, but suddenly your job took over your life, and now you feel like you don't have time to pursue your dream. If that's you, then welcome to a new episode of the Intuitive Move podcast, the place where we shut our minds, open our hearts, so we find our true selves. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how we can find new gifts and how you can find your unique gifts. And if you ask me, so I've been coaching people for many years now, and there is one thing I get asked a lot: what's my main talent? What's my superpower? What are my unique gifts that I can share to the world? What are my unique gifts that I can exploit and maybe make money out of it, maybe use it in my job. And I can totally help you if that's your question as well. But one thing you need to know is it takes a lot of inner work. Like, you need to do your part too. But if you do your part and I guide you on how to find what your gifts are, you will find what your gifts are as well. So basically, finding your gifts takes two steps. The first step is you need to get yourself exposed to many different things. You need to expose yourself to different situations. Think about your life today. You have a certain amount of exposure, experience, and contacts with different activities, people. So for you to find new gifts, you need to change that. You need to change your life. You need to change your surroundings, potentially move into another city, potentially move into another country. The more you change your environment, the more you change your life. And the more things you add there, the more chances you have of finding that thing that is your new talent, your new superpower that you can potentially sell in the future. Potentially, you can make a huge company out of it. Like, you can dream big here. We are not here to stop you from dreaming. But so let's come back to your reality. So if you don't have the chance of moving to another country like I did, if you don't want to do that, you can still add new things to your life. You can start new hobbies. But when I say start new hobbies, you need to take it seriously. You need to take it to the next level. Say that you go in one weekend, you allocate to explore hiking or trekking in the mountains. You need to take it seriously. You need to go maybe at least 3 times so you can see how you feel. Unless, say that you go and you hated it, of course you don't do it anymore. You use your time wisely. You try a new activity, see how you feel, get the feedback from your body and mind, and listen. Oh, I really enjoy this. Maybe you hear, or what's this I don't like it. So listen and observe how your body responds to these activities. So get exposed to different things. If you, in those 2 months, haven't found any activity that caught your eye, any activity that you thought, oh, I really need to explore this, I'm curious, then you need to keep going another month of, I'm only saying, one new activity every single week. And potentially maybe another smaller activity, maybe midweek. So you add exciting times in your life. So once you have exposed yourself to different things, you need to do like a podium of new interest. So here is the new gifts will always come from things that we love, that we enjoyed, because that brings the best of us. So you need to do like a top 3 of interest. And that doesn't stop there. So once you get the new interest, you get excited and you see that this is my new thing, even if it lasts 3 months, don't feel bad about it. Here in this podcast, we are all multi-passionate. And I can tell you from my experience, the way that I got in here is, well, basically, I always liked, a little bit of philosophy. You can ask my friends when I was 10 years old, I was always like giving lectures about life. What could I possibly know about life at 10-year old? Well, I did it, and I always liked speaking and sharing my ideas. I was always very opinionated. And so I kind of had always that trait of mine. However, I evolved. So as I mentioned many times, my background is in engineering. I studied that. I worked in science for a few years, and I worked in the food industry for a few years. Then I moved to IT and project management. That doesn't stop there, because after project management, that's when my life got like a plateau. I thought, is this it? Is this meant to be life? I went home and I literally started writing a sales page to sell coaching services. And while I was doing all that, I started to give career coaching. I started to give coaching to immigrants because I was an immigrant myself. So I felt like, okay, this is my niche. I can really help immigrants find great jobs and design great careers. But then I took a huge leap when I realized that my advice was also useful for locals and I could help even Australians. That felt like a little bit of imposter syndrome, because as immigrants, we always have insecurities and we think that we don't know what we are doing. And I think everyone has a little bit of insecurities and we don't really know what we're doing. But the thing is, I got over this imposter syndrome. I kept going, I kept exploring this coaching. And while doing coaching, I discovered my intuition. So I realized that my advice was always fact based and always industry based, but there was a little bit like a secret ingredient in my coaching where I could see, beyond the words that my clients were saying. I could see like hidden talents of them, and I could ask, um, would you possibly be open to this activity? Would you possibly be open to this direction in your career? And I started to give feedback. And I think we also mentioned in this podcast that all occupations and all professions have a little bit of intuition, but we don't really recognize, we don't give credit to it. We think, oh, this is just industry knowledge, it's not intuition. But I can tell you 100%, my coaching awakened my intuition. And that's when I also got connected to the earth in a higher sense. Like, I really connect to Mother Earth. I connected with so many beings. They are so magical. But I always like to keep grounded, because my career, you need to be grounded. You need to, be fact based. But I don't miss an opportunity always in my career, in my evolution, to always add that intuition side. And this podcast is all about teaching you add that secret spice, that secret ingredient that will make your life much more beautiful and much more enjoyable. So my journey, then I continue with coaching. I awaken my intuition. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I need to speak about this. I need to share this to the world. And here I am. So, engineering, project management, coaching, career coaching, and then podcasting. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that an immigrant from Argentina moving to Australia with all the insecurities, that I will be able to speak about my interests, to speak about all the damn books that I read, and to speak about my experience? Because that journey, such as I had this journey, you have your own journey. And my message to you is, please don't stop there. You have a great job, good for you, but please don't stop there. So remember that pivot point when I went home and I drafted my first sales page for coaching services. You can do that too. You can go home and draft that sales page, or draft that LinkedIn profile, or draft that Instagram profile, and get started to show your gifts and to show your interest. And in that pursuit of finding your passions and finding your gifts, in that pursuit, you might find a new gift. So everything is exposure. Everything will give you the opportunity to see, okay, when and where I can make the difference. So in summary, you got exposed yourself to many different things, either by actively seeking new things or by actively sharing that to the world. That all that is exposure. Now, moving to the second step, remember that was the first step, getting exposed to new things. The second step is doing some self inquiry. So there are a list of questions, not many to be honest, but they are so deep. And now that you got exposed to different things, you will be able to answer. And there are also questions that you can ask your loved ones. So here we are. So ask yourself, in which activities do I lose track of time? We speak about this question a lot, but it's very deep. But please ask yourself, in those 2 or 3 months where you tried one activity per week, we are talking about activities for the mind and body in a holistic way. Which activity, if any, did you lose track of time in? Another question, think about the compliments that you receive. A lot of people, especially in this country, in this Anglo-Saxon culture, self-deprecate themselves. I'm like, stop doing that. Just say thank you, receive the compliment. But either way, we're not talking about this, but pay attention to the compliments that you receive. Think back and make a list. What were the 3 latest compliments that you received around your skills? Have they said, oh, I really like the way that you express this idea? Or I never thought about that before. That's a really interesting point of view. Think about which topic someone told you something like that, or wow, you really make me like this topic. You know, sometimes you think, oh, philosophy is so boring, but then someone comes and explains in a way that you fall in love with. So, see, sometimes it's about not the topic, but the way in which we receive it and in the way in which we connect. Another question that you can ask yourself is, what feels easy to me but difficult to others? So, this is very hard, especially when you have imposter syndrome. We think that everything that we do and everything that we know, everyone can do it. No, please know that everything that you do, you are the only person that can do it in that way because you are unique. You have a unique combination of skills and interests, and the way that you can resolve things is unique. So stop thinking that anyone can do that. No, you have that talent. Please credit to yourself. And if in your job or around your life no one identifies that, you give the credit to yourself anyway, because no one could have done it in the way that you did it. So, what's easy for you but difficult to others? Maybe you can test your friends, hey, can you do this? And then they tell you, no, that's so difficult. And then, ah, but that's so easy. I thought anyone could do it. And in fact, that's how I remember a story. I was listening to an interview about Taylor Swift and the mom. And apparently, so as you know, Taylor Swift is the biggest songwriter in the history, in my opinion. And when she was very little, she said in this interview that she was listening to Disney songs and she was changing the words and changing, the lyrics. So, and the mom was talking with another mom and was saying, oh, guys, so does your kid also change the lyrics and changes the words of the songs and they sound like really good after as well? And the parents said, no, really? No, they don't do that. So sometimes where you see something easy get done easily, but that doesn't mean that anyone can do it. So try to think on those things that are so easy to you and go and test your friends, test your family. Can you do this? And then you will realize that not everything is done so easily, and that's your talent, that's your superpower, and that can be your new gifts where you can pursue further, as we spoke a little bit in the step 1. So here you ask those questions. In the second step, you do the self inquiry, but then your job is to pursue a little more. enroll to a more serious school or start a page speaking about it, or maybe start a blog speaking about it as well. So, that question, what feels easy to me but difficult to others, please keep thinking about it, because I honestly can tell you so many people get stuck because they don't give the credit to themselves as they should. And that's very sad, because we are taught in society that we need to be humble. Yes, you can be humble, but at the same time, just try to identify what's truly your gift, what's your talent. There is nothing wrong about thinking, what am I good at? Because literally, you can change your life if you can find that one thing, two, three things that you love, and you can combine them all together and start a project. And it doesn't have to be huge. You start small, you start your project. And since you're using the three top interests that you have, you will be so excited in this project. You will do it with your whole heart, and I'm sure you will succeed because you'll find a way to align within yourself. So, in summary, the questions to ask yourself are: in which activities do I lose track of time? What skills do people naturally compliment me for? What feels easy to me but difficult to others? You can also ask your loved ones about some questions, to ask them for feedback. And trust me, you will be surprised on how much we don't know how people perceived us. So you can ask to your parents, to your friends, to your brothers and sisters: when have you seen me at my best? What do you think my gifts are? And also, one question I loved, actually, some of these questions were inspired by, so I read so many career books, and these questions in particular were inspired by the book called You But You Turn by Ashley Stoll. And she's amazing, and that book is amazing. And I think one or two questions from here are from that book. And in that book, she also adds a question that is: ask a loved one, how does the room feel different when I come in? And I find that also, please do that. Ask someone, how does the room changes? How does the room feel when I come in? You will be surprised of the feedback that you will receive from the people, because maybe you think, oh yes, I am this and that. So the traits that you think of yourself, they won't necessarily match with the traits that people think of you. And I'm sure that you will be surprised for the better. Take that feedback. Take notes of everything single thing that you receive. This is gold, because you are, sometimes we get stuck in our heads and we don't know how we are perceived by others. If you don't trust them, please don't ask these questions. Only for highly trusted people you ask these questions, and you'll get the feedback, and then you can journal about it. You can keep digging with that feedback. You can start new activities, try new hobbies. It's like a cycle. It's information that feeds, and it helps you to keep going in this search. When you find something that you love, as we mentioned, don't overthink it. Just go and do it. And for me, it was horse riding. And had I ever thought about it, I wouldn't have had the chance to get started and do horse riding, because the first thing that we think about horse riding is, oh, it's damn expensive. That's not true. People think that horse riding requires you to have a farm, to have a horse. None of that. So personally, I don't have pets. I don't have any animal companion. However, I think, okay, can I invest in horse riding lessons? Or maybe can I invest in horse riding or in horse boot camps and spending time with horses, like paying by the hour? Yes, of course we can. Anyone can do that. You don't need to have a farm, have a horse to do horse riding, because there are so many barriers for you to pursue that activity. For example, if you like horse riding like me. And I was talking about this at work actually, and everyone was like surprised that I said, it's not expensive. It's just think about how much money it costs to have a pet, an animal companion. And I literally spend less money per year in horse riding. So that's how I see it's my little big pet. So Once you find that activity that you love, don't stop there, don't overthink it, and just do it. Do it one more time and one more time, and do get feedback loops. Ask yourself, how does my body feels by doing this activity? What's my intuition telling me? Now that we are getting closer to our true selves, our true expression of ourselves, it's that time that we should listen to our intuition even more. We should listen always, but even more so when we know that we are in the right track. And the last one, but the most important question is, how can I bring more of this energy into my daily life? And all this podcast is about making our lives much more beautiful, making our lives much more exciting than they are. And in this whole episode, I showed you that there is a way. Maybe you have a job, even if you like your job, please don't stop there. Just keep searching, because you might be finding a new gift, a new talent, which can make maybe some timelines cross, and then maybe you will find a new career out of this interest. But the only way to know is that if you pursue that new interest. I hope you really liked this episode. I truly did. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.